My piece is based on Nea Ascaris by Byrd. It's kind of a cry to the Lord from the people of Jerusalem saying our city's been destroyed and we're now in this like strange place and it's got things like been decimated basically. So it's quite dramatic, and in Byrd's setting I find it it's quite calm, it's quite pleading, but there's not an awful lot of force behind it. It's beautiful and I love singing it, but I thought for my piece I could do something a little bit different with the same words and kind of use them in a more maybe demanding or like more impassioned plea. So there's quite a lot of loud chords, as well as kind of harkening back to Byrd's use of like these lovely flowing lines that kind of weave in and out of each other, turning them into a more like impassioned cry for help rather than it just being like a petition. I've not written for flute or soprano saxophone before, so it was a little bit challenging trying to get them to fit in with something I have written for a lot, which is vocal consort. So it was, interesting to try and know how to weave them in. And I kind of took the approach of treating them as extra voices, but also kind of imagine them as like a separate choir. So it's almost like choir one and choir two, and there's quite a lot of antiphony between the two groups. Quite often, especially if I'm writing for voices, I write handwritten scores, and that just basically lets me be a bit more flexible with meter. It's a nice way of having flexibility and kind of be able to play with people's perception of time in a score. So rather than having things happening synchronized vertically all the time, you can kind of play with moving around things in a more manual way. There are bits where the flute and saxophone have kind of cells that float around on the page and they can move between them how they like. And the way that they're presented on the page is to try and give an idea of how it's supposed to sound, so quite free and kind of mysterious maybe. They can play around with how it works, so it should be different every time they play it, which is nice.